Hello everyone and welcome to this complete WordPress tutorial. So in this video, I'm going to be walking you step by step how to create a website using WordPress. So basically this is more like a beginner video. If you are new to WordPress, or maybe you already have an idea on how to create a website using WordPress and you want to learn one or two things, this video is going to put you through everything you need to know about creating a professional looking website using WordPress. So let me show you the website we are going to be creating in this video. So let me show you what the website looks like. So here is what the website looks like. I'm going to be showing you how to have a website like this, okay, and even more. So for example, now this is looking more like a food vendor website or restaurant kind of website, okay, but I'm still going to be sharing with you how you can even have something different, or how you can also make use of this kind of template or design to create yours. Okay, so this is what the home page looks like. For the menu page, this is what it looks like. If you talk about the About Us page, this is what it looks like. And if you scroll down, you see that for this now, for this particular footer is looking like this. I also show you how you can create your own custom kind of footer. All right. So if that interests you, do make sure you watch the video to the end. If you are new to this channel or you are yet to subscribe to the channel, can you take out time to subscribe to the channel? So all the resources I'm going to be using in this video, I'm going to leave a link to them in the description of this video, so I make it easy for you to get started. All right. So in creating a website, there are two basic things you are going to need for you to have your website. Number one, you are going to need your domain name, and number two, you are going to need your hosting. All right. So when we talk about domain name simply means your website name. For example, if you are to access Facebook now, you need to go into your browser and type in facebook.com. You see that word facebook.com is what we refer to as your domain name. Maybe you want to access BBC or CNN, you go to cnn.com. That word itself is what we refer to as domain name. All right, so that's the first thing you're going to need. Now the second one you are going to need is what we call hosting. Now for every website, all the information on your website, for example, all these images, all these text, all these designs and layouts, they are stored somewhere that makes it easy for people to access it on the internet. Okay, so that is what we refer to as host. That's just a simple explanation of what host is. All right, so for you to get these two things, one platform comes highly recommendable. So for you to get started with getting your domain name and your hosting, so just come over to this website, akprosperblog.com/hosting, and then you'll be taken to this page. You can see here Hostinger. This is currently one of the best hosting platforms that you can find on the internet right now. They offer the best and quality hosting service. So if you're here, you see it, and you're getting 75% off hosting plus AI website builder. Okay, so once you are here, if you click on start now, here you'll be taken to the different pricing and the plan. All right, so we have the basic plan, the growth plus AI, and then the scale plus AI. Now, since we are working on e-commerce platform, I'll recommend you go with the growth.ai. Now, if you check the difference between the three plans, you'll see it right here. Now, if you look at this basic plan, remember we are creating e-commerce website. You can see for e-commerce, and then this is checked for e-commerce. Okay, so that means this has more features that we need to actually get us started. All right, and then maybe later on you can decide to go up with this scale plus AI. So since you are just starting out, this is okay. Now you can see you are also going to be getting a free domain for the first year, and remember, like I said earlier, you are going to be needing two things: your domain name and your hosting. So they are providing us with hosting, and then we are also going to be getting a free domain for the first year. And then you can also use this same plan to create up to 50 websites. So maybe once you are done with your first website and you want to create another website, you don't need to come back and purchase another hosting. With the same hosting plan, you can create up to 50 websites. Okay, so you can see these are some other features that comes with it. Basic e-commerce, business email, 5 minutes backups per year, daily backup. You get up to 50 gig of storage, and then you get priority support, team collaboration, and the likes. Okay, compared to the basic plan. So what you do once you are here, just go ahead and click on choose plan. So once this page open up, the next thing you're supposed to do is to choose the period. How long do you want to purchase this hosting? Now, if you click here, you are going to have the option of choosing 1 month, 12 months, 24 months, and 48 months plan. Now, remember, you're getting a free domain. So for you to get a free domain, you have to pick anything from the 12 months plan. Okay, that's what is going to give you the free domain. Like you see it here, domain name, you won't be charged for it. You're getting a free domain. However, if you are thinking on long term, okay, I'll recommend you go with either the 24 or 48 months plan. That's if you are thinking of, the website on a long-term basis. And also choosing the 24 or 48 months plan will also increase the discounts you're going to be getting. Okay, for example, now for 12 months, your total is $59.88. But if you go with 24 months, that's 107.76. And then if you choose to go with the 48 months plan, that's $181.92. Okay, and you're also going to be getting plus 3 months free hosting. Okay, so the higher plan you choose, the more discount you're going to be getting. For example, on the 48-month plan now, you are saving as high as $489. Okay, so just make sure you choose anything from 24 to 48. That's what I'm actually recommending. Okay, so depending on your budget anyway, but those are the two. So once you have choose any of the plan that you want to go with, okay, then you can come over here and then you click on continue. So on this page now, you're going to be prompted to create an account. So here you put in your email address and your password. So you need to take note of the email address and the password you want to use to create your account with them. Okay, so once you do that, you put in your email address and your password, and then you click on register. Once you've completed the registration process and then you've verified your email, the next page you're going to be coming is where you're going to put in your billing address. So that's your name, your last name, your country, your phone number. You just fill in all of these details. Once you are done with them, you click on the continue, and then you'll be able to make your payment. So there are different payment options that will be available to you depending on your country. Okay, so you can pay with your card. There's option of PayPal, there's option of Google Pay, OPay. I think this is available because of the country, my country. So we also have Alipay and then CoinGate. So whatever country you're actually watching from, you definitely see a payment system that will definitely work for you. So choose whichever one that works best for you, and then you'll be able to check out. Okay, so you can see once you put in your either your pay with card and then you submit your payment, then you'll be able to purchase your hosting plan. Once you have completed the payment process of paying for your domain, okay, so once you've completed the billing process, the next thing you're going to be getting access to your hosting dashboard, which is what you are seeing here. So once you're on this page, you see all of these options here: your home, website, domain, horizon, emails, and the likes. So where we are coming is you click on websites. So once you are here, you see this option to add website. So go ahead and click on add website. Now all these options will pop up. We have WordPress, Hostinja website builder. So what we want to go with is WordPress. Now you see some of this survey or questionnaire, so you can decide to skip them or answer them. So let's say I'm creating for myself or my business, go to next. So now the next phase now is for you to create an account. Now this information is what you are going to be using to log in into your WordPress website itself. Okay, so here you put in your email. You can see it here, WordPress email, admin email, and then your administrator password. Now one thing I would advise is make sure that whatever password you're using here, you take note of the password. Okay, so by default they'll generate a password for you. Okay, but you can go ahead and create your own password. All right, then make sure your password fulfill all of this information: one number, one symbol, one uppercase letter, one Latin letter, and then between 8 to 50 character. Okay, so one only Latin character. Okay, and then one symbol. So the symbol can be anything, full stop, and all of this symbol sign. So once you fill in all of this information, you click on next. Now you'll be asked to create with a website with AI, pre-built website and theme. So just click on create a blank site. All right. So now the next thing is this. Now they're asking that what domain or subdomain would you like to use? Now there are three options here. You can see number one, it said claim your free domain, buy a new domain, or confirm a domain you already own. Now let me explain the three to you. Now if you've purchased your hosting, so that means you can go ahead and claim your free domain. So what you do is you put in the domain that you want to use. Okay, let's say for example this is the domain you want to use. Maybe you want to use this domain now, so you go ahead and put in the domain. If the domain is available, you see the option here with claim, so you click on claim. All right, so that's the first option. Now the second one says buy a new domain. Now this buy a new domain is when you want to create maybe your second website. Okay, maybe you've already claimed your free domain and then you want to create another website. You can go ahead and purchase another domain from them also. They also offer that service. All right, now the third one is confirm a domain you already own. Now maybe you already have a domain already, which is what I want to do. For example, I already have this domain. gpt.com, and that's what I want to use. So I'll just go ahead and put in the domain. So you can see, do you own this domain? Use it. So I'll click on it. So you can see the domain is registered at another provider. You need to verify you own it when you connect it to your site. So that's letting you know, if you have a domain on another platform, maybe you have a domain from GoDaddy, from Bluehost, or from other platform, you can also use it. All right, so and that's what I'm doing. So you can see it here. I've put in this domain. I actually have this domain on another platform, Dynadot. Okay, so what I'll just do is then you go ahead and click on install WordPress. So with that now, our WordPress installation is in progress. You can see it here, 6%, 7%, 8%. So I'll just pause the video and let it to go to 100, but it takes less than 2-3 minutes. Okay, so guys, if you are finding value in this video, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you are yet to subscribe, please go ahead and click on that subscribe button. So once the installation process has been completed, you're going to be directed to a screen that looks like this, or a page that looks like this. Okay, so one thing you might also want to pay attention to is if you where you have your domain name. Okay, you might not be able to see it here, right? So where you have your domain name, let me just do it like this so that you can see what I'm talking about. So this part where you have your domain name, you can see here I'm having the domain name gbt.com/wp admin and the likes. Now yours might be showing some random words, okay, and that's because once you install your domain into your hosting, sometimes it takes time for it to link or to propagate. All right, so instead of you waiting, before now you need to wait maybe 30 minutes, an hour for your domain to link properly with your hosting. But instead of waiting, what they are doing now is they are giving you a temporary domain that you can use to continue creating your website, so you don't need to wait. All right, so you don't need to worry about that. So what you just do is just continue with your website creation, maybe after like 30 minutes to 1 hour. So what you just do is go to your browser and then put in your domain name. So for example, just put in your domain name and then you put /admin. Okay, so you put in your domain name /admin, something like this, like you can see here, and then you'll be directed to your dashboard again, or you might be even prompted to log in. So don't forget your email and your password you use while setting up. All right, so that is it on that. All right, so let me give you a breakdown, a run through on what we are seeing on the screen. All right, so over here you see it will show your profile where you can see your name here. So if you want to edit this, just click on edit. So let me do that real quick. So if you click on edit, instead of it showing a part of your email or your entire email, you can just change it. Okay, so you can see this is the scheme color. So by default, this is the default one. If I should change it to this, so you can see it here. So it's a matter of preference for this, how you want the color to be at the back end. I think some people also like this midnight. Okay, but personally I'm good with the default. So if you scroll down, there are some other things. Now the username here, you might want to change it. Okay, sorry, not the username cannot be changed. Sorry, not the username. Now if I should include it here as the first name, let me just put in Prosper. All right, so then where you have this display name, all right, so now I can set my display name to be Prosper. Once I do that, you can see it will change over here at the upper right of your screen. Okay, so this is the email. You can see if you change this email, an email will be sent to your new address to confirm. So if you want to change your admin email, you can also do that. You can write something about yourself, put in your profile picture, whatever you do, just make sure you save. Now the reason why I'm going through this is because sometimes your email address is what will show you, and I believe so not everyone likes it like that. So let me go back to the page we were before. So if I should click here where we have this hosting jar, to take us back to this screen. Okay, so now one thing you also do once you are here is to come over to plugins. Basically once you install your WordPress, there are some plugins that you don't need that the hosting will just go ahead and install for you. And here are they. So just this hosting jar AI, hosting, and all this hosting jar related. So make sure you leave this slide speed catch. Okay, so but this other four, it might be different because they update it from time to time. All right, so if it's different as at time of watching this video, just disable anyone that has to do with hosting jar. So you come over to this bulk action, click on it, then you click on deactivate, apply. So you click on them again. This time around, we want to delete it. So basically anything or plugin that you are not using is advisable to deactivate and delete them. So now we can go ahead and click on delete. Don't forget, you have to first of all deactivate them before deleting. Now you might be wondering what plugins are. So basically plugins are, I call them apps. Let me use the word apps that add more functionalities to your website. Take for example your phone. Your phone comes with so many apps that makes your phone increase the functionality of your phone. For example, if you want to take pictures, you have to have you need the camera app. If you want to make a call, you need the calling app. If you want to send a message, you need a messaging app. You can see that all of this app, if you want to play a game, you need to download an app for your game. All of these add more functionalities to your phone. The same thing applies here. So once we start adding more plugins, and then you get to understand what some of these plugins are actually doing. Okay, so now that we've disabled that, you can see we have a cleaner side menu here. So let me go back to the dashboard. So you can see this is what our dashboard looks like. It's telling us welcome to WordPress and every of this information. Now, sometimes some of this information you might not need them. Okay, so if you don't want to be seeing all of this here, so you come over to screen options and then you can uncheck them. All right. So depending on the information that you want to be seeing, all right, but if you don't want any of them, just uncheck them. Basically, if you are running e-commerce website, there's some information that you might want to see from your dashboard, maybe analytics or everything. So from this screen option, you can check which of the options you want to be seeing. All right, so let me return that. Okay. All right, so now we can see this is what our backend looks like. So let me show you what our website currently looks like. So if I should come over here, okay, if I hover here, you can see visit site. Let me open that in a new tab. So you can see this is what our website currently looks like. Okay, that's how it's going to look like. So what we want to do is we want to take it from this to this, okay, in just a few minutes. All right, so let me close this back and then come back to the dashboard. Now, if you look at here, we have just few options here. The more, as we start to install more plugins and more themes, we are going to be seeing more options here. So before that, let me just walk you through all this here. So this is the dashboard here, right there, and this is where we have. Now for posts, so let me open that in a new tab. For posts, this is where you are going to be having all your blog posts. So you're going to have a blog on your website. So this is where you are going to see it. You can see the option to add a new post. So you're going to create a blog post. This is where you're going to come over to click on add post, and then you create your blog. Under that, you have you want to create your category too and your tags. Now the next one is for media. So this is where you upload your media files, like your images, your PDF, and everything that has to do with media file. This is where you're going to do that. You can see the option here, add media file, and this is for pages. Now this is where you're going to create all the page in your website. For example, now all these are pages. This home page, this is a menu page, this is about us, is also a page, this is also a page. All right, so this is where you're going to be creating all of those pages. And if you want to add a new page, you can see add page. So if you've created any page, you're going to see all the pages here. Now these ones were created by default, but you can just go ahead and delete them, move it to trash, apply. Okay, so you come over to trash again, you select it and then delete permanently. Okay, basically anything you don't need, it's not advisable to keep them on your website, because if you keep them, they are going to take some space on your host. All right, and every little thing like that matters. So this is comments. So once you start receiving comments on your website, especially if you have a blog section, you're going to see it here. It's to show you how many comments you have. And under appearance, we currently have themes and editor. Don't worry, we are still going to have more options once we install our theme. So this is for plugin, I've talked about it, and this is users. So under these users, you can see this, you are going to see your account as a user. You can see you are the administrator, which is the highest role. It gives you access to everything at the back end. So if you want to give access to someone else into your website, so this is where you can do that. You can see this option here, add user. All right, so this is where you're going to add user to your, so just click on add user. So you fill in all this information, their username, email, and all of this, and then their role. Okay, so you can see the highest role here is the administrator. So if you want to give them editor, author, contributor, so that reduces what they can do from the back end of your website. But if you give them administrator, that means they have the same right and access just like you do. So we have, under this, we have tools, and these are the options under tools. Then we also have settings, all right, and then we have this light speed cache. Now, basically, this light speed cache is a caching plugin. One other thing I find interesting about it is if for any reason you are making some changes on your website and those changes you are not seeing them taking effect, or you want to clear your cache, once you come to Lightspeed Cache, come to presets, and then you apply this preset. Okay, you can choose from any of these, from the essential to the basic. All right, and apart from that, it works behind the scene for it's a caching plugin. Okay, so I've talked about that. I've talked about the user, so let me close that. Okay, so now the next thing I want to talk about now is, once you are here, come over to settings. Okay, and then we want to do two things here. So on the general, so this is where you're going to put in your site title. Okay, so let me say I'm going to call this based on the demo we want to use. Let me just call this, so this is foodons. Okay, so you can see it will appear here. So here now you can put the title of your website. Okay, then a tagline, so that you can say in few words, explain what this site is all about. So let's just say Bells Mills in Lagos. Right, so let me just put it like that. So this is where you also put in your site icon. So your site icon is that logo that will appear at your what's it called, as your browser tab. Okay, so this is where you put it. Now your this other information, just leave it the way it is your site URL and the WordPress address. Okay, this membership, don't check it because we don't want if you don't want anybody to sign up into your website to check, you just leave this like that. So this is your default date and time format. If you need to change it, go ahead and change it. Week starts when? Monday. Fine. So any other changes you make, just make sure you save. So that's it on this. Then the next, so apart from that, we also have writing, reading, discussion. Every other thing here are okay the way they are. Okay. Everything here is okay, okay like that. Okay. So now let me come back to the dashboard. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is to install our theme. So if I should come over to appearance and then I click on themes now. All right, so themes is what gives us the kind of design, the layout, or the feel of our website. Now, by default, you're going to see like these three themes courtesy from WordPress itself. Okay, to show you their last three themes based on the year. Now, this is for 2025. That means we are currently on 2025. Now, let me open what our website currently looks like now. Okay, so on the 2025 theme, this is what our website looks like. Now, if I decide to activate 2024, so I click on activate. Okay, so you can see 2024 is the one we are using now. Anything you are using will be the first thing that will show up here. So if I come back to our website and refresh it now, so you can see that it changes. The text, the font, and everything changes. So basically, that's what it gives you, a design or a layout for your website. So if I should do that of 2023, I should activate 2023. If I should come back to our website, if I should refresh, so you can see the way it appears, the fonts, the design and the layout, it changes. So that's what the thing does. It gives us a layout or a design for our website. Okay. All right. So now, but these are not the ones we want to use. So the one we want to use, you come over to add themes. So you come over to search themes. So by default, you can see as at now they have about 7,845 themes that you can work with. So you can see a whole lot of them here. But the one I want to use, just come over to search and type in Zakra. Okay. So this is the theme we are going to be using in this tutorial. So just go ahead and click on install. Once that has been installed, you go ahead and click on activate. Right. So we've done that already. Now before we do every other thing. Now if you notice something now, you see that we now have more options here, especially under appearance. Now we have design, customization, widget, menu header, background, and all of this. Okay. Remember I mentioned it earlier that once you start to install more plugins and more themes, you're going to be having more options here. All right. So now that we've installed a new theme, now let's see what our website. If I should refresh this again, so you can see it has changed again. Okay. So now let me go back here. So once you install the theme, it will show you this information here. Start building with Zakra. Thank you for choosing and every other thing. So you can see, click this button will install and activate theme green demo importer and block ads blocks plugin, allowing you to import the themes demo. So let's go ahead and click on get started. So guys, if you are finding value in this video, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you are yet to still subscribe to the channel, go ahead and click on the subscribe button. Right. So that the next screen will look like this. Okay. So choose builder. We want to use Elementor page builder. All right. So basically, if you are creating a website with WordPress, there are different page builders that you can use. Right. Just like the word page builders, they are what you can use to create the design, the layout for your website. Okay. So we want to use, there are other types. We have Gutenberg, we have Elementor, we have Breezy, we have PV builders and the likes. But we are using Elementor. Now, the concept behind this video tutorial is to show you how you can create a website using ready-made templates or demo. Okay. All right. So if you look at it, we want to use Elementor page builders and we want to use a free page builder. I mean a free demo rather. Okay. So I come over here and click on free. So now what this is showing us is that all this that you are seeing here are ready-made designed websites that we can actually make use of. Okay. So you can see it here. So this is the one that we are going to be using. You can see it here, food pounds. So now this is another demo website or templates. This is for, maybe you're into photography or travel. You can see there's something like this. There's another one for travel. If you want to create a website for maybe for dental or clinic related, you can see there's a demo for you. Now, for example, now this is for Dentify, for your dental related service. You can also use it for anything around the medical niche, right? And this is for learning. Maybe you want to create a website that has to do with education, learning. So you can see that there are a lot of demo or templates that you can actually work with. And that's why I mentioned it earlier that irrespective of the website you are creating, there is a template that you can actually use. If you want to create a job portal, there's a free demo for you. If I should scroll down again, this is for travel, this is for professional service, this is for law. If you want to create a website for a law firm, so there's a demo for you. You can see if you scroll down, there are a lot of demo that you can actually make use of. Okay, so for example, now this is for construction. You can also use it for building. You can use it for just every other kind of website. Okay, so for this now, we are going to be using this food on. So I'll go ahead and select this. So it's asking us if you want to change the logo. So if you already have your logo, just go ahead and upload your logo here. But I'm still going to show you how you can do it inside the website itself. So I can just go ahead and click on continue. So it's already, just go ahead here, click on start import. Okay, so ready to import. So click on start. So now you can see importing your site. So the importation is complete already, and it took less than 5 minutes, I think 3 minutes or less. Okay, so you can say congratulations, import complete, your site is now live and with your selected template. Okay, so you can go here. If I click here and click on visit site, so now it's showing us what our website currently looks like. So you can see right here, this is what our website currently looks like. We've been able to bring in a template that we are going to work with already. Okay? So this is one of the easy way of creating a WordPress website. Okay, instead of going through the process of creating it from scratch. All right. So nevertheless, I'm not saying it's not good to know how to create it from scratch. It's also good, but sometimes using them, some of these templates goes a long way in making it easy for you to create your website, especially if you are creating your website and you are behind deadline. Okay, so you'll see that some like this information we provided earlier, this website, and then this is the description: only the best food meals in Lagos. So I'll also show you how you can take this out. So you can see we already have this template already imported for us. Now the next thing we might want to do now is to update the information, because basically some of this information might not fit what you want to do. Maybe the name of your own website is not called food hunts. Okay, so how do you go ahead to change some of this information? I'm going to be walking you through that in the course of this video. Okay, so another thing I also want to mention is while you are importing yours, if you have anything that shows failed, it will show you that you want to restart the process. So just go ahead and restart the process, and I'm very sure you won't have any issue. All right, so let me also click here to go back to our dashboard. Okay, so when we talk about our dashboard, you can see this is what we are making reference to. Okay, so you can see now we have more information here. That's because we already have a plugin. So if you don't want to see this, you can just hide it. And if you don't want to see it again, you come to screen option, then you will check it. Okay, so basically, it all depends on you. Okay, so then you can see we now have more options. Everest form, we have Elementor page. This is the page builder we are using now. We already have what else? Block ads, and some other new option on our menu. Now, next we want to look at now is, like I mentioned earlier, how do you go ahead to change some of the information on this website to fit the kind of service that you offer, or the kind of website you look for to create it. Now, let me give you an idea. Now, for example, now this is for food, right? Maybe you want to create a service-based website. Okay, maybe yours is a cleaning service website, for example. So you can just go ahead and say, welcome to maybe Prosper Cleaning, and then you give a brief something about your service or your company. Then this view menu, you can change it to view services, or you can make it two buttons where you can say, okay, view services, and then call now. Right, I'm giving you an idea. Now you can maintain this about us. You just change, maybe discover cuisines from across the globe to something else that has to do with cleaning. Then this counter, they call it counter, you can say, okay, 7+ of cities covered, 100+ happy customer instead of cuisine. Then 10 years of experience, you can maintain this. Then instead of showing all this food, you can show some images about, when you are offering your cleaning service. You get the idea. So why I'm saying this is to let you understand that the fact that this template you are using is related to food, that doesn't mean you can't use it for other kinds of websites. Okay, so for example, now this place that says exotic cuisine, you can change it to our services. You write a brief title here, and if you don't need this, you can take it off. Okay, our services. Then this part you can now put images, maybe industrial cleaning, commercial cleaning, and then maybe post-construction cleaning. So you can see, and then you can have it here, maybe industrial cleaning, post-construction cleaning, residential cleaning, something like that. Okay, so that's to let you know that your ideas is unlimited. Now, if you want to also get content for your website, you can use ChatGPT. So just go to ChatGPT and put in a prompt that, okay, I'm working on a website. I need you to create content for a website. The name of my website is this. It's located here. My contact information. These are the services that I provide. I need you to create a detailed website content. ChatGPT will come up with content for you that you can use to modify everything that you're seeing here. All right. So with that being said, now how do you now go ahead to change all of this information? Now, number one way is once you are on the page like this, remember you need to be logged in as an admin. If you are logged in, you'll be seeing this menu here, this black side where you are seeing your, you can go to your dashboard, you are seeing customize, you are seeing new. So basically this new is, you can just use here to create a new post, media, and every other thing. So once you are seeing this right there, that means you are logged in as an admin, okay? But if you are not logged in as an admin, maybe on a different browser where you are not logged in, you will not see this here, okay? So take note of that. So like I said, if you want to edit this page, so you see this edit with elementals, you can go ahead and click on it. Another way is for you to come to your dashboard, come over to pages. So this is it, pages here. So now you see by default, the template we imported also imported some of the pages for us. So that's why we have more pages now. So for example, the home page, this is it here. If you want to know your home page, you see this front page here. And if a page is created with Elementor, you'll be seeing this Elementor here. So you can see all these pages are created with Elementor. That's why we are seeing Elementor. So if you want to edit any of them, you can see this option here, edit with Elementor. Okay, so that's another way. Or if you're on the page itself, you see it here, edit with Elementor. So go ahead and click on it. So once it's open up, you're going to be seeing these notifications and the likes. You can just go ahead and skip it. So this is how it looks like. Okay, so what you are going to see here is your Elementor dash screen now. Once you are on your Elementor to start modifying or creating your layers and pages. So let me walk you through again some of the options that we are seeing here. So right here, you are going to see what your website looks like. And the reason is that so that every changes that you are doing, you can be seeing them live. Okay, so what we are seeing here is called structure or navigator. Basically, it makes it easy for you to access different sections of your website. For example, now, where we have these 6 dots now, you can see it here, that this is a container that holds information up to this point here. All right, so the next one starts here. All right, so as I clicked on it now, you notice that it's showing me here. Now, the idea behind this is that sometimes it is, it might be difficult for you to access certain elements or widgets. Now, you can see all this one I'm clicking on now, we call them elements or you can call them widgets. So sometimes it's difficult for you to click on them or to access them, or maybe when you want to move them around. So, but with the help of this structure, it makes it easy to navigate different sections of that particular page that you are working on. Okay, so if you don't need it, you can just easily cancel it. Okay, so you can see it, but if you need it again, you can see this is it here, structure. So this is it here, right? So that's it there. So let me also walk you through from here. Now this is home. This is letting you know the page you are currently working on. Now if you want to leave here and go to another page, you can just leave here. Maybe you want to go to the about page. Okay, so you can easily do that here. Now this is showing you the different layouts. So this is currently on desktop. If you want to see how the website will look like on tablets, so this is what the tablets looks like, and this is the mobile. So if you want to see what the mobile looks like, and the idea behind this is that sometimes your website will look good on desktop, and once you switch to mobile, it might not be too good. Maybe the text is too big. For example, now this is, to me, is kind of, it's okay, but I can decide to say, okay, it's too big, I want to reduce it. All right, so that's the idea behind this. So let me take it back to desktop. Okay, so this is, you're going to find something. This is the structure. If you want to preview your website, okay, if you click on it now, it will open up in a new tab to see how the website looks like on its own. Okay, and that's it there. Then if you make any changes, you see the option to publish. That's like you want to save. Okay, and you want to save it, everything here, this entire page as a template, you can also do that. So that's it on publish. Now over here is history. So if you want to undo, okay, if you want to undo certain things, you just click here, and this is for page settings, and this is if you want to add elements. Okay, so all these are what we refer to as elements. Okay, element or widget. Once I can mix them together. So that means if you need heading now, okay, like for example, this was created using heading, and how will you know? Once I click on it, you can see edit heading. Now this was created using, it was also created using heading. You can see it here. Edit. If I should click on this now, this was created using button. That's why we have edit button. Okay, so once you are editing anything and you want to bring in a new element, just click on this plus. So you see a whole lot of widgets. If you need heading, image, if you want to bring an image, so but basically what you just do is you click on it and then you drag it to wherever you want to put it. So you can see it's asking me where I want to put it. Okay, so that's how that works. So let me delete it. If you want to delete it, just right click. So you can right click on the image, you see the option to delete. Okay, there's also option to duplicate, copy, paste. We want to delete this now. Okay, so apart from that, you have a whole lot of widgets. Now basically, if you are creating your website, you won't need everything. Okay, but There are a lot of options available to you. All right. And if you are using the pro version of Elementor, you even have more options. Okay. But even with the basic version of Elementor, you have a lot of things that you can actually work with to have a good website. Okay. So if you also click on this E, if you want to exit back to your WordPress, okay, you can also do that from here. So we have some other site settings. Let me just walk you through that real quick. So under that, we have the global colors. All right. So what this does is that you can create your own custom colors. Okay. So you can come here to click on add colors so that you add colors that you want to be using in your website. What this does is it helps to create consistency in your colors. For example, if I click on add color, and maybe I want to be making use of this particular red. Okay. And then I just give it a name. Let's call this red. Okay. And every other color, and I can just save it. Okay, so anytime I'm working and I need the red, I'll show you where you can pick that. So that's it. The same thing with global fonts. So this is where you can set all your primary, your secondary, your font, so that you won't need to go through the process of picking your fonts when you are adding a text. All right. So once you are done, you click on save. So you can see you edit your primary. It's currently set to Roboto. Your secondary is also Roboto Slab. Okay, and the likes. No. Right, so that's it on global. The same thing with typography and the other things. Okay, so once you are done, do make sure you save. Right, so just go ahead and save the changes, and then you can just X out of it. Right, so the next thing is now for all of these elements, for example, this heading, this is also an heading, this is also an image. You notice that we are having three sections here. We have content, style, and advanced. Sometimes it can be two, it can be one, it can be four, all right, depending on the particular widget or element. Now, for example, if I should, once you are working with an heading or with a heading, you see this will show you what text you are seeing here. Maybe I want to change it to, instead of food hunt, maybe I want to change it to food lounge. Okay, so you can see it here. If you want it, this link means maybe you want it to be a clickable link. I want to click on it to take them to a particular page. All right. So under style, so this is where you can set your alignment, maybe center. You want it to be to the left or center. Now for typography, so if I click on typography now, so this is where you can select the font family, the size, how big or how small do you want it to be. So you can see it. All right. So it was on 188 before. So how small, how big you want it to be, the weight. Talk about this talks about the thickness. And maybe you want it to be 600, so you can see. So let me return back to 400. All right. So all the effect that you are doing here, you'll be seeing them live. Okay. So, and again, like I do say in my video, if you are making any changes and you are not seeing the effect immediately, just return it back to what it was. For example, if I change this from 400 to 600 and I did not notice anything, the best thing is for you to just take it back to 400. Okay. All right, so this is where you want to transform the text maybe to uppercase. You know, there are a lot of editing option here that you can actually work with. Then this for heading, for advanced, this is where you want to add margin or padding. Okay, basically you might not need all of these things, but I've just mentioned just in case you are making changes and you need them. So margin at the top means you want to add some space. So if I should increase this to 20, you can see it will add some space between this element and the next element. Okay, the space will be outside this element itself. Now this heading is within this pink container. As I increase it to, let me use a bigger number now, to 50. Okay, so if I should increase this now to, instead of 20, let me change it to 50. So you can see that there's a space outside this from here to here. That's for margin. But if I should do the same thing to padding at the top and I make it 50, you see that the space is within this pink container. So basically that's a simple explanation between explanation letting you know the difference between padding and margin. So padding will just add a space inside of that particular element. But margin, it will be outside of it. Okay, so maybe say between it and the next widget or element. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so away from that, we also have different alignment options, size, and then all of this motion effect and the likes. Okay, so the more you work with Elementor, the more you are going to understand some of this. Okay, but if you want to know more about all of these, I have a separate tutorial where I show you how to create a website from scratch. You know, this, instead of working with templates, if you want to know how to create it from scratch, there's a separate video for that. Okay, so if you want to change all of this, I've showed you how to go ahead and change all of this. So okay, now here. Okay, so for this now, this was an image that was dragged here to give us this, and this was also a text. So you can see this is the text right here. Okay, so if you come to style, also there are different alignment options. and then that you can work with both. So this was created with a button. You can see this is where you put in the link where you want the button to link to. So you can put in the text here, the link for the page, or you can just come over here, okay, and then just go ahead and put in the link that you want. So if you want to link it to your menu, so just type menu. If you have a page created like that, it will show up, so you can see it here. It will show up, okay. So another thing I want to show you when you are working with Elementor is that if you see this plus icon here, so once you click on it, you can use it to create another section. So if I should click on plus, we have flex blocks and grid blocks, okay. So if I'm using a flex box now, in most cases, you can have one column facing downward or facing right, two column, and every other layer depending on what you want to achieve. Okay, so I'm still going to create one section so that you can have understanding on how this works. So if you scroll down to anything you want to change, just click on it. You can see it here. You'll be able to change them. Okay, and if you don't need any of them, maybe for example you don't need this, I can just go ahead and delete this. Okay, so it all depends on you. But let me bring that back. Okay, so that's, you can see I've just used the history button just now. Okay, so if you want to change the image, once you click on it, all right, so you see come to content. So this is the image right here. So once you click on it, you'll be taking, you can see all the images you have. If you want to bring in your own image, it's very easy. Just click on upload, and then you select file from your computer, or you can just drag it in. You can see drop files to upload, or you can just drag an image here. Okay, so let me just close that. All right, so that's how to do the image part. So the same thing applies to all the sections, So this was created using image. This is another image. Okay. Now, what I want to do now, for you to have a little understanding, more understanding rather, on how to use Elementor. Let's say I want to recreate this particular section now. So for me to do that, I'll just click on this plus, and then I'll click on Flexbox, and then I select this first one. I want to face it down because all the elements will be vertical. Okay. So I select this. Okay. And if you want to understand, where is the navigator? Okay, this is it here. So if you look at the first container that we're having, you can see this is a container. I click here, there's another container inside that housed everything. Okay. So what I'll do is I've created one. I'll just come over and click on this plus. Then I'll bring in another container. All right. So you can decide not to bring in another container anyway. It all depends on the kind of design that you want to achieve. Okay. So for this now, welcome to, what they did was you click on this plus and then you click on this heading. Okay, so this heading right here, right, and then I'll write welcome to, okay, welcome to, right, and then you'll notice that everything here is at the middle. So what I'll just do is I can click here, and then right here I'll just say that, okay, I want everything to be like this, and then I want them to be center right at the center. So anything I'm bringing in will be at the center. So once that is done, I can, it's white now, it will not show because this is white. So what I will do is the entire container, click here. I want to increase the height. Okay, you can see this is from here to here. So once I've clicked here to show edit container, you can see minimum height. If I should increase it to let's say 600. Okay, so let me see what they used here. For this now, you can see here they use 770. So you can see it here, they use 770. Right, so that's how you are going to do it. I should click here now. Let me just work with 600 so I can see the entire thing. All right, and then another thing you notice is that the text, I mean, this is at the middle of it. Okay, it's at the center. So for me to achieve that, if I should click here again, if I should click here, then I'll come over to this again. I also sent under justify content, so to be at the center like this. So let me also add the background so that all the things I'm going to be adding to be visible. Now for this now they are using a video at the back on the background. So for you to achieve that, you click here, you come to style, so you can see background. We have classic, that if you want to use just a color, so you can see you want to just use color. Then this is for gradients. So if you want to use two colors, you might have come across some of this effect on other websites. So maybe I want to use okay, and then you can pick your second color. can just be creative with this. Okay, just picking it randomly. Okay, then you can now play with the location, so you can see location, and then you can pick your angle. So there are a lot of customization options that are available. Okay, so that's it. And if you want to use video, so like this is what they use. They use a video here. So what you do you look for a video like this. Okay, once if the video is not on YouTube, you can upload it to on YouTube, and then you paste the link here. All right, and then you have all the settings right there. Maybe you want it to play once, you can set it yes, or maybe you want it to repeat itself to be on loop. All right. Okay, so that's how you go ahead to create this background. Maybe you want to use, if you want to use slideshow. Basically, the meaning of slideshow, if you want to use different images, so you just go ahead and select all the images you want to use as background. So let's say I want to use this. Let me select just let's see. Okay, so let me just use this 3 now. So instead of video, I can decide to also use slideshow. Right, so the image is not actually is not wide enough in terms of the pixel. That's why that one, the other one looks blur. Okay, so if you're also using this, okay, the image is not of higher pixel. That's why it's looking like this. Okay, but that's then you can also, there are other settings, the duration, the loop, you know, the other effects. If you want to do lazy keen bone effects, so you can see it. So you can see there to be moving in or out. Okay, and if you want to use video too, you can also use video. Just select the video option and then you put in what you want to use. All right. So let me just copy this video so that we can just be on the same page. So I come to style. Okay. So the reason I'm trying to spend so much time on this is the only thing that will actually probably take your time once you are doing it. You know, because I believe once you are creating a website, you want to have something that looks very good, something very professional. Okay, and I just want to go through this just to show you how you can go about. So you can see it here. Now you see that this is having a dark overlay. So what you do is, apart from background, you come to background overlay. So you click here, then you select a dark color. Okay, so you can see it here. And the idea behind this is to make sure the text is visible, so you can increase it and see it here. So that's how that is done. So now we can go ahead and bring in all this text easily. Okay, so let me see what I think they use Roboto here. So if I come to style, typography, okay, Queensland. So I also change this to come over here, come to style, typography, and then I search for quicksand. So that's the name of the font that was used, and then the size was 24. All right, and then so in terms of color, this is where you can see text color. Let me change it to white. Okay, so you can see that's how that was achieved. So the next one was this right here. So let me see the name of this font right here. If I click on typography, it's called Allison. All right, so what I'll do is I can just decide to duplicate this. Okay, I can duplicate that. So what I'll just do is come over here and type in food fonts. Okay, so then I'll come to style. Under typography, the name of that font is called Allison. So what I'll do is increase the size. Okay, so for the weight, set it to 400, right? So that has been done already. The next thing is this section. And this is an image. So you see it here. It's an image. So what we'll do is we'll come over here and click on the plus, and then we'll drag in an image. So you can say I clicked on it. I want it to be below. All right. So I'll click here and look for that image. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, this is it. So I click on it, select, so you can see it here. So this is the image. So the next thing we are having here is this. So this was created using Edding. You can also create this using text editor, right? So it all depends, all right? So let's say I want to also use Edding. I can just come here. So let me show you another thing you can do. You can also duplicate this like I did earlier. So you can duplicate this, and then you can see you bring it to where you need it. Okay, that's one way. So if I should go ahead and delete this. Now you can also bring in the heading widgets, you drag it here, okay, and then what you do is you right click on this, you click on copy, and then you come here and then you click on paste style. So to copy the style from here and paste it here. So you just note, but you notice that this is looking more thinner, all right, and then the size is smaller. So I just click on it, come to style, under typography, okay, maybe I'll just make it normal, okay, as like 400, and I'll reduce the size to maybe 18, okay, then I can go ahead and put in my text. Now you also notice that there's a space above and below it, okay, and that takes us to advanced, okay, and then let's use margin. So for the top margin, okay, you therefore unlink this. So if you don't unlink this, if you put in any value here, it will be at the top, bottom, left, and right, okay. So that's why you have to let me return it. So you have to unlink this. Maybe at the top I want to have a margin of 20, then at the bottom also 20, okay. So that's how all of this thing works. Now the next thing we are having there is a button, and for you to achieve that, click on this plus, then you look for button. So this button here, so you click on it, you drag it, then you drop it here, okay. So you can see we already have our button. The next thing is for us to design it to give us this effect. So once I click on it, is view menu. So I don't want it to be click here, it to be view menu, VIEW, view menu, okay. So you can see it here. So where you want it to link to, you do that here. If you want to add an icon, you can also do that here. Now let's come to style. So under this default, now there are also different types, but let's still leave it at default. Under style, so once you the text shadow, okay. Now the color, for the color, let's start with the color. So this is where you can set in your color, okay. So let's say it is this color, and then what else do we have? What else can we see here? Now you notice that the edges is curved. They are curved. They are curved there, curved there. So for you to achieve that, if you come to border radius, okay. So once you increase the border radius, so let's say, okay, 10 is even too much. So let's use 5. So now there's a arrow here. You want to hide this side panel, so you can see it here. Okay, so you can see it. We have already have it to be curved. Okay, another thing is we would also need to add some padding and increase the size. Okay. Okay. So I hope you are getting the concept behind using this. So let me increase the padding. So let's leave it like this. Okay. So if you also want to do some settings with over. Over means once you move your mouse on that item itself. Okay. So this is for button. So under content. So for button also. Text shadow, we don't need the text shadow. Now for text color, okay, is white. So I can click here, change it to white. If you also want to change the quicksand, I think that's what was used. Okay, so if you want to do the typography, you want to increase the weight and everything, the size. Okay, so right. So now we want to, like I said, we want to do the over effects for the button. So if I come over to over, so this is where you can change the text color. If I hover over it now, the background color changes. So that means background type is set to, you can also use gradient. That's when you use 2 colors. For the color now, maybe I want to use, maybe for example now, for tutorial purpose, maybe once I hover over it, I want it to change to red. So you can see it here. So this is how you do some of those. If you want to add border, okay, remember we didn't add border. So border type is set to default. But if you want to add border, let me show you what it looks like. I click on solid, so you can see now there's a white border around it. So if you want to also increase the thickness of that border, so this is where you can do that. So you can make it very small, maybe 1 or 2, it depends on you. Then you can set the color. Instead of white, what color do you want it to be? Okay, so there are a lot of customization options. Now you might not need to touch everything. Don't get tempted, okay, especially as a beginner. If you also want to add shadow, maybe the color is not really contrasting well with the background, you can add background, you can add a box shadow. Okay, so but what I'll just advise that don't get carried away with all of these options. Okay, and you might not need to touch everything. I'm only touching some of them so that you can see the possibilities that you can achieve with some of these things. Okay, now if you come over to advanced tool, there are other things that you might, motion effects. You're going to add some motion effects to it. You can also do that. Okay, let's see. Entrance animation, for example. Now, if you want it to fade in, so you can see once they're on your page, it will just fade in. We have zoom down. So if you want it to appear like that, all of these effects are available. You can set the duration and the animation delay. As how long do you want it to be on the website before the effect happens? Okay, maybe 1 second or 50, 100 milliseconds. It all depends on you. Okay. Another thing you also need to take notice that once anything you are doing, make sure you always publish. Okay, it's very important. Make sure you always publish, just like saving. Okay. So with what we've done here, that's has given you an idea on how you can go about with every other section. Now, for example, now this particular section was created using. Remember, let me show you this real quick. I'm not going to design this anyway. So if I click here, if I click on this plus now, flex box, this one was created using these two column. Okay, and remember I used this. Okay, this one created using two column. All right. So, and you can see this was an image. And if you look at this side now, the edges were curved. There's a border radius. If you look here now, around this image, there's a border. Okay, you can see it here. All right. And we touched something like that while we were working on button. Okay. So with that now, you can go ahead and create all of these. If you are creating this section now, and you want to come here and create this section, you can easily copy this about us and come and paste it here and just change the text instead of starting all over again, giving it some title, giving it some color, sizing and everything. You can copy, you can just type it and just, come here, copy, and then you go to something similar and then you can just do paste side. It helps to ensure consistency. And also make sure that every section that you are doing, once you are done with a particular section, make sure you check the mobile version and to make sure that the thing is looking well on mobile. I mentioned it earlier that, for example, this to me now is looking too big on mobile. I can decide to reduce it. And whatever changes you make on the mobile, it won't affect the desktop. Okay, for example, I can come to typography and maybe on mobile view, I want it to be like this. Okay, now that won't disturb the desktop. Okay, as long as you're not changing the text. Okay, and don't forget, you can see the option to publish has popped up. That's because we've made a change. All right. So the same thing applies here. Just click on them. If there's any section that you don't want, you can easily delete them. Okay, you can say delete container. It all depends on you. Okay. So that's the walkthrough on Elementor. The more you practice, you're going to understand how all of this thing works. Okay. So now we can now exit out and exit back to WordPress or to the backend of our website. Okay. So once it takes you here, click on this again. And then you are back to your dashboard. Okay. And if you need to create a fresh page, so the same process you are going to go through. So so click on pages. You can see add page. Also click on add page, put in your page title, and then go ahead and save. So maybe I want to create a page called contact us. So you just go ahead and click on publish. All right. So once you click on publish. All right. So you can see it here. You can view the page. And then you come over here and click on edit with Elementor. So you can then go through the process of creating your page. Okay, so you can see. Now for this one, it's having a sidebar. So let me go back. If you don't want it to have a sidebar, so you can just change the template to Elementor full width. Okay. So another thing I also advise you is when you create a page, set it to Elementor full width, save it, check what the page looks like. Set it to Elementor canvas. I think if Elementor canvas is when you have to create a landing page where you don't really need the header and the footer. Okay, that's for Elementor canvas. Then you can also select page builder depending on how the theme was designed. Okay, so you can also use page builder and see how it looks like to fit what you actually want to create. Okay, so basically there is no one size fits all. It all depends on what you intend to achieve. Okay, all right. So let me leave this. So that's how to create a page. If you want to create a page, I've showed you how to edit all the information with what I've shown you so far. So next thing I also want to show you is I've talked about how to create a post. Okay, so you can also do that. Okay, now next thing I want to talk about is if you come over to appearance. Okay, let me do that let me come back to this home. Is the customization option. If you click here, you see this customize. You can also come over here under appearance. You see it here, customize. So let's click on it. So guys, please give the video a thumbs up if you are finding value in this video. Now, if you're on this customize option too, this is another customization option for the entire website. Okay, you can see that it looks want to look similar to what we have in Elementor. Okay, and all these options you have here is it can be very different depending on the theme that you're working with. Okay, so as time goes on and you're working with other themes, you see that some of these options will be different, but there are similarities anyway. All right, so starting with the global option, global, this is where you can set your global typography for anything outside Elementor. You know, Elementor has its own, so this is where you can set your, you can see quicksand. You know, one thing about this template that they make sure that some of the fonts that they use in the Elementor itself is similar to what they use on the website. So this is where you can set your typography. Now you might not need to change any of these things, especially since you are working with a template, but I just need to show you just in case maybe for tutorial purpose or you want to explore, or you are working on other projects and then you might need to just do some of these things. This is where you can set in your colors, your layout, and then your button. Okay, so for this layout now, let me come back. For this layout, you can set how you want your website. Do you want your website to be normal? Do you want it to be narrow? So narrow is, you see some websites, you know, they have quite a number of space on both sides. You want it to be full width, or you can use a custom, you know, if you want it to be box style, you know, and once you do any changes here, you're going to be, you can see now, this is a box style, right? So you can see that there's a white space at both ends. The website is not really stretching to the end, okay? So let me uncheck that. So this is where you can set where you want your sidebar. Do you want it to be a right sidebar or left sidebar? That's for pages that are going to have sidebar. So this is where you choose that. Okay, so let me come back and then you can set your button. So those are the options under global. Then under heading, so this is where you can set your heading. So you can see here we have site logo, and this is it here. You can see here we have the menu options here. You can see primary menu. We have the search. All right. So this is where you can also do that. Under this now, if you want to change the logo, once you click on it, all right, so you can see that tag I put earlier. So this is it right here. If you want to change the logo, this is where you can change it. Just click on update. If the logo looks too big, you can adjust the height here. It's currently set to 150. I can easily reduce, if you can see now, I can reduce it if the logo is looking too big. You can also adjust that here. So let me return it to what it was before. Okay, so for the site title, now you'll see that earlier our site title was showing up and all of this. If you don't want it to show up and you don't want to remove it from the back end, because you know it helps with SEO and how your website will appear across your tab. If you don't want to remove it here, but you still want it, and you don't want it to show here rather, and you don't want to remove it under those settings, you can see it here. Site title, I can just disable it. Okay. And then okay, let me check this first. Then this is the tagline. I don't want this tagline to show up, so I can just take that out. Okay, if I don't want this title to show also, I'll just disable it. Okay, and then now the logo is looking too big. I can just, okay, let's return it. It was 150 before. All right, so you can see it now. That brings it back to normal. Okay. All right, so don't forget to always publish. So that's the logo. If you want to change anything about the menu also, once you click on menu, this is where you can select the menu that you want to use. You can select the border width. How do you want your menu to appear? You know, all of these, the color. So you can see the color. This is the normal color. This is the over color. Now, once I over it, it should show me this brown color like. So you can see it here. Okay. So this normal means that's the normal color. This is over. This is active. So that means if I'm on a particular page, we are currently on the home page, you can see the color is different from these other ones. All right. So, and if you are using a sub menu, this is where, you know, you can play around with all of this. Okay. Then we have the search. If you want to bring in any other thing, you can do that now. All right. So let's go back. I'm still going to show you how you can create a separate menu type. Okay. So this is for post. If you want to edit your blog section, you can do that here. Now this is for footer. So this is the footer here. Now if you look at the website now that we imported, this is what they have as the footer. Okay, just the copyrights and this. All right, so this is it here. This is the only thing they have. If you want to maintain that, but you want to change information, you can do that here. Or if you want to have a different kind of footer, okay, you can see now we have 3 different sections that you can just, once you click on this plus, you can, for example, if I click on these settings now, you can select how many rows do you want. If you want a 3-row, 4-row footer, you can do that. You can set your background color, your padding, and all those things. Okay, so that's one way of creating a footer and header. I'm still going to show you a separate way. So the next thing we have under this customize, we have additional. This is where you can set optimization, unlock more features available in Pro. Okay, this will not be available to us. Now scroll to the top, it's currently enabled. That's this button here. Okay, you can change the color. It all depends on you, and if you don't want it, you can disable it. Apart from that, we have breadcrumb. It's currently enabled. Let me see where I can show you that. Is it available? Okay, this thing here, it's more like a breadcrumb of a thing. So let's go back, and then widgets. Okay, so this for settings for widgets. All right. So away from this, guys, if you are finding value, please give the video a thumbs up. So for site identity now, so this is where you put in your site icon. Remember I showed you earlier where you can, when we were doing settings and we went to general. So under customization, this is where you can put in your site icon. I said this is the logo that will show up at your browser. So let's say I want to use, I think this is it. This is the logo for the site. Okay. So you can see it here on our browser. This is the image that will appear right there. All right. So if you want to do that, just go ahead and save it. And then under that, we have header media. This was not used, but you're going to use it, fine. And then for menu, so this is where you can select your primary menu and your secondary menu. I'm still going to show you where you can create menu on its own. Okay, but this is where you want to select, okay, what do you want to use as your primary menu? So you can see it here. All right. And then what else do we have? We have widgets, homepage settings. Now for this homepage settings, this is where you are going to select where you want to, the page that you want to show when people go to your website. Okay. By default, almost all websites, it's always the homepage. Maybe if you go to any website, their homepage you are taken to. So this is where the setting is. Okay. But if you are working on a blog, most times then you set blog. Okay. So that's it. Then for post page, when you create a post, where do you want it to show? Then you can set to your blog. We currently don't have blog on this website, but as when we have blog, you see the option of blog here, then you select it. Okay, so that means any blog you create blog post, it will go straight to that particular page. Okay, so additional CSS, if you are familiar with CSS, you want to put in some CSS code to make some effect on the website. So this is where you are going to do that. Okay, so with that now, and then I've showed you all the options that are available within this customization option. Again, you might not need to touch everything. Just take note of that. You might not need everything. Okay, but I just need to walk you through all of those. All right. So next one to look at now is menu. So how do you go ahead to create your menu, to format your menu, or for example, now we have home, menu, about us, reservation. So let's say you want to add contact us or FAQ page. Add it to this menu. Okay, remember after maybe you've created the page already and you want to add it to this menu, how do you do that? So that's the next thing you want to look into. So what we'll do now is, once you hover over appearance, so let me confirm if my mic is still recording. Hello. All right. So once you hover over appearance and then you come over to, okay, there's appearance, you come over to menus. Okay. So you can see these are the menus already. We have the primary and the secondary menu. Okay. But you can also set, depending on how you set your menu, you can also have different menu types. So you can see there's an option here that says create a menu. Okay. So once you are there, you can see these are the menus already. We have home, menu, about us, and reservation. And if you go back to check our website, home, menu, about, reservation. Now, another thing you can do here is you can rearrange them. Maybe you want your about us to come first. You can see it here. So just go ahead and save that. Okay. So if I should come here and then we refresh this, let's see. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and save again. All right. Let's see. Now, at times, you might just do it and you might not see the effect immediately. So just make sure that once you save and the about is set, just refresh the page to be sure that, okay, you can see now, refresh the page. But so once you experience this, just save it. Okay, and just save it, just refresh again to be sure that, okay, so it's still not going, but that's how you go ahead to do it. Just go ahead and you can rearrange it. Now, if you want to add a new page to your list of menu, for example, now you see this about us we just created. Okay, even though we didn't do too much, we already created the page. But let's say you've created the page and everything, and you want to add it to your menu, you can see, just select it. You can select view all. Let's see contacts. Then you can say add to menu. So this way also you can select where you want it to appear. So this is when you want to add a particular page to your menu. Now, if you also want to add a custom link, okay, maybe you want to add a link that will appear on your menu, but it's not a page on your website. For example, now I want to have Let's say I want to link it, the linking text, maybe I want to send them to my TikTok. So what I'll just do, I'll add a link to that TikTok page. So whatever the link is, okay, I'll just paste the link here and I'll click on add to menu. So you can see it here. So this will also be a menu and you can see it as a custom link. Okay. And if you want to delete anyone, once you click on this drop down, you can see remove. Okay. So that is how to do that. So with this now, we've been able to so that's how you create a menu. If you want to have a category that you want to let it to appear on your menu, okay, it depends on you. Okay, you can also do that. If you have a blog post that you want it to be part of your menu, you know, maybe this now, I can just click on add to menu. Okay, so for this now, maybe I don't want it to show this hello world as the what it will display. If I should click here, say maybe I just want it to show something else. So all of these options are there. You make sure you save. All right. So these menus that we've just done now, they are for the primary menu. If maybe you want to do something to the secondary, you go ahead and select your secondary menu. You select. Okay. So there's nothing under the secondary menu. Okay. And if you want to have as many, maybe different menu for different purpose, depending on how you want to structure your website, you can easily do that. So that's how you go ahead to create your menu. So let's see if I come here to refresh again. So you can see now all the menus I've just created that I've added, and if you want to rearrange them, that is how we go up to do that. Okay, so remember I said earlier that I'm going to be sharing with you how you can have a custom kind of footer. You know, if you don't want to use the other way, the one I showed earlier of creating your footer, okay, there's another way you can do it. So what we'll do is there's a plugin we are going to be using. So you come over to plugins and install plugins, or you can just go ahead to click on add plugin, and that takes us to what I said earlier about plugin. So just look for ultimate add-on. Ultimate add-on for Elementor. All right, so this is it here. This is it here. Just go ahead and install. So that's what I was talking about earlier, that some of these plugins, they are basically apps that helps you to add more functionalities to your website. All right, so with this now, apart from even using it to create our header or footer, let me just exit out of this guide. You can also go through this guide to give you more understanding on what you can achieve with this particular plugin. Apart from using it to create header or footer, once you are working on any page using Elementor Page Builder, this particular plugin we just installed comes with some added widgets that once you use those widgets, the way the widget will appear will be different from that of Elementor itself. All right. Okay, I don't know if I can show you that real quick. So let's just click on edit with Elementor, let that open up. All right, but now we've installed this. So what you do is you see this header and footer, click on header and footer. So now you can see Elementor header and footer builder, click on add new. So default, okay, types of templates. Let me close this. So what do you want to create? You want to create an header or you want to create a footer? Okay, it all depends on. You can also use this to create an header. So maybe you want to have a different header design, something different from this. Okay, depend on how creative you can be or you want to be. So you want to do, let's say you want to do footer. Where do you want it to display? You want it to display on the entire website. Okay. And then if you don't want it to show on some pages, you can set it user role. Let's just put it to all. Okay. Enable Elementor layout and canvas, so you can also check this. All right. So for templates, okay, so just leave this like that. So basically that's just it, and you go ahead and click on publish. All right. So we've published that. So now you go ahead and click on this edit with Elementor. So now this has opened up. That's the one for the footer. All right. Now this structure sometimes, let me also, since it has happened now, sometimes this structure can just, if you push it too much, it will just create it's a tab on its own somewhere at the right. So if you don't want to just drag it out, I always prefer it having it float around so I can have more screen to work with. Okay, so before we start to create our footer, I'm just going to show you that briefly. So you see that the plugin we've just added, the ultimate add-on. Oh, let me reload. All right, so I think my browser caused that. So you see that this plugin we just added also gave us some added elements that we can also use. You can see navigation menu, page title, site, copyright, site logo. Some of these things, you might see that they are similar to some that we have by default, courtesy of Elementor itself, but they are always different in terms of the layout and the appearance and the design. Okay, so that's another thing about the plugin we just added. So it's not just for header and footer alone. Okay, so now let's come back to, let me show you how you can also create your own header and footer. So if I should click on this plus now, since I'm working with a footer, I want to have a 4-column footer. Okay, I've selected 4 columns, so you can see it here, 4 columns footer. And then let's say for the footer, let me add a background. So maybe I want the background to be, let's say, so if I should select it here, I want the background color to be a dark color. So let's say maybe this, or let me just use a full black color. Okay. So let me see, okay. Okay, so I want to change it, but you can just use any color anyway. You can use any color anyway. And the reason why let me change it again to something like this. Okay, it all depends on you anyway. There's a reason why I remove it from black, because I noticed that the logo itself is black, and I don't think they have the white color for this logo. But if I should put it in, it might not be visible. Okay, so now you can now be creative with your footer. And now to get idea for your footer, you can just search online for or check different websites to see how their footer looks like. So let's say I want to bring in now, since it's footer, I want to bring in logo. So I'll search for the logo widget. Okay, so you can see it here, logo, site logo. All right, you can see my logo has appeared here. You can select the solution, how big or how small you want it to be, the position that you want it to be. So apart from this, again, I can also put in a text editor. Okay, so for this text editor, I can write 1 or 2 things about about my website or what I do or the service that I do. You know, it can just be anything. You would have seen something like this in some other websites. So maybe for this part now, I want to put in my menu. Okay, so for this now, let's say I want to just, what I'll just do is I can just copy this particular widget and come and paste it here. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want to copy the fonts and the styling. So I'll just change it to quick links or menu links or whatever. Okay, so what I'll just do is I can just increase let me reduce the size to 25, it should be fine. Let me make it 600. Okay, all right. So next I want to put is those menu items. So I click on plus and then I just search for menu. All right, okay, you can see here navigation menu. So I'll bring it here. So it's asking me which of the menu, is it the primary or the secondary menu I want to use? Remember when we were creating menu, we have 2 menus there. Under secondary, there was no menu under it. I hope you remember, except primary. Okay, so now you can also set how you want it to appear. If you come to layout, you want it to be vertical. So you can see it here. You want, yeah, a lot of this for mobile. You want the mobile to have full width. There are a lot of customization option here. Then you can also set the color. Okay, horizontal padding, so you can see it here. So like I mentioned, if you are doing any changes, spaces in between, you can see it here. So how do you want the space in between to be? So any changes you are doing, make sure you are seeing it take effect here. So this is for the typography, the normal, the over. When it is normal, what color? When the over it, you can see it's currently gray. When it is active, then when you're on a particular page, what color do you want it to show? Okay, so all these are customization options that you can work with. Now, the problem I personally have with this kind of menu is that when you put it on mobile view, it changes to this guy here. Where is it to this? And personally, I don't like it. So I don't really use it, but I just need to, show you first. So what I just do most times is I make use of tabs. Okay. Oh no, list tab. It's called list tab. Oh, okay, icon list. Okay. So what I'll just do is, let me use one as example. So for this now, I'll just delete the icon. Like I decide to use icon, it all depends on, it can be optional. There's no one way to do everything. So I can use this. This is the home now. I'll put in a link to the home page. Okay, so you can see it here. Then I go ahead to style it and space, the alignments, the text, and the colors and everything. Okay, so I can now go ahead and do the same thing and have it for maybe the About Us. Then I'll add a link to the About Us page. Then I'll also do for, let's say this is for menu. Okay, so then I'll put in a link to menu so you can see. Then this will also have the text, so you can put in your text color. The only thing is that it doesn't have too many effects compared to this. Okay, but except you want to use some CSS code. Okay, but personally I like using this tab option. All right, so I just decided to show you, explain that so that you can see the different possibilities that you can achieve. So what I will just do is, let me duplicate this. I can just go ahead and duplicate this, and then I duplicate this again. Then with this I delete, and then I can just delete this. Okay, all right, so I can use this for links. I can use this to, since it's a food kind of website, or I can just say, okay, maybe if it's a services, I can just put here that, okay, services, and then I will now do the same thing for the list of services that I offered. Maybe if it's a cleaning service, I can just put the industrial. Did I get that right? Industrial cleaning. Industrial cleaning. And if I have a page that talks about industrial cleaning, I will add a link to that page right here. Okay, and maybe the next one is commercial cleaning. So I hope you get the concept now. So it can be, you can just use this for commercial cleaning, and you can check online or you check your competitors page for businesses that offer the same services as you and see how they structure their footer. Okay, so you can also use this other section, and then I can use this place for contact us page. So with this now, let me just delete this. What did I click on? Okay, delete. I'm confusing me with this. So with this now, just put in, I can change it to contact or get in touch. To get in touch. Okay, and then I'll bring in a text editor, and then I can then put my contact information here. Okay, 22 Ibadan. Let me just put in a random address. Ibadan, Ilorin State. All right, then you can then put in your phone number, your email, and the likes. Okay, so, and then you go ahead and style everything appropriately. Okay, and then if you also want to add another one below it, so you can see it now. Maybe this one now, I want to, let me change the background to, let me make the background dark color for this now. So maybe I can now have another footer below, and maybe this one I want to just add it as my copyright text. Okay, so let me copy this information here now. You know, you see some website or like copyright webs, and the website is designed by so. So I can now bring in maybe an header or a text editor again, and then I put this in, and then I can now put, okay, copyright so here, designed by, and then you can put in the name of your agency or whatever, and then you go ahead and format this appropriately. Okay, so for this now, you just reduce the size. It's always very small. Okay, then I can change the color. You can say, you know, you can do a lot with this. You can do a lot with this. Okay, and then you can change the color to, let's use white for this now. Okay, so the choice is yours with everything. All right, so once you are done with this now, don't forget to publish. Okay, now this is not, you know, you can come up with something better. This is just like a walkthrough. Another thing I want to do here is to add a gap. You can see this is too close to this, so I'll just come to layout, scroll down, column gap. So if I should increase this now, okay, so let's say 30. Okay, so you can just use a column gap that best fits. So don't forget to publish. So you can see this is what it currently looks like. All right, and if you want, maybe if you want it to spread, but it's okay like this anyway, but if you just want to use it to be a full width, let me just show you what it will look like. So you can see full width, you know, but to me it's too close to this, but I'm just showing you so that, for you to understand that some of the changes that you make on your website goes a long way in affecting how, you know, the whole app, what they are actually doing there. Okay, so let me go ahead and publish. So now if I come back to the website now, you can see this is what we have. If I should refresh it now, you see that the footer that you've created is what you are going to be having. Okay, so you can see it here. So there's even something I didn't add some padding here because it's too close. So I can also come back, click on this, come to advanced, unlink it, and then at the top, maybe I want to add a padding of 80 pixels. Okay, and then at the bottom, also some 80 pixels, and then I publish. Okay, so let's come back and let's refresh. So you can see now. So this is another way you can create your own custom kind of footer. You can be very creative with whatever you want to do with your footer. Okay. So with that, guys, I've really covered a lot, and I believe you've learned a lot too if you are new to WordPress. Okay. And then you want to create a website like this. If you learned a lot, let me know in the comment section, and also give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are yet to. And if you have any question for me with respect to this video or WordPress generally, do let me know. So there's another thing I wanted to show you, but I don't want the video to be longer than necessary, but I already have a separate video for that. You know, you've created your website, you already have your domain, you already have your hosting, and if I want to create a custom email, there's a separate video on my channel that explains how to do that. Okay, so do make sure you also check that out. So guys, thank you very much for watching. The links to the hosting that I recommended, I'll leave it in the description. So if you want to take advantage of this so that you can get your 70% discount plus a free domain, I'll leave all of those information in the description of this video. So guys, thank you very much for watching. My name is Prosper. And then with that, guys, I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.